Hey rejects and varlets, today I'm going to be giving you a look inside my mind on how I'm able to consistently survive alone on the game's hardest difficulties. With countless hours invested into the game, both solo or duo, and after many successful clutches, I've gathered a wealth of experience and learned numerous tips and tricks that will no doubt prove useful to you. If you apply everything I talk about here, you should not only be able to win more consistently, but notice an improvement that will translate into more successful clutches if you ever end up being the last one standing. The gameplay I'll be showing you will be an Auric Maelstrom game, with never stopping onslaught of hordes, specialists, elites, and even a boss. I'll provide a link to the build I use in the description, but I won't delve into the specifics here. While it's true that some builds are better at clutching than others, our aim today is to understand the mindset and tactics necessary to survive alone in the face of overwhelming odds. So let's dive right into it and turn you into the one-man army you're meant to be. Okay, so you see the yellow explosive barrel? Always keep an eye out for these, and I left this alone because I knew that it's guaranteed to be valuable later. A few rooms from here, enemies will be spawning from all directions, and you won't have enough firepower to safely push through when you're alone. This barrel will relieve so much pressure for you when you do eventually have to fall back to this area. There's the sound of the horde. So now I turn around and surely enough, enemies are already coming from all directions. Pushing forward here is a bad idea because I would be stuck in between spawn doors that are very close to me. Specialists and disablers come straight out of those doors and can immediately end the clutch, so I'm just trying to stay away. Sure enough, the barrel from earlier becomes very valuable. Knocking a crusher on its ass like that makes the fight very safe for me. I'm gonna want to have to fall back soon if they keep pushing me because the plasma gun will overheat, and for your other guns you'd probably have to reload by now. Right now this position is extremely ideal for my current situation. 1, the enemies will line themselves up to get to me in this bottleneck. 2, the spawn door behind me is dangerous, but there's a long stretch before they can even get to me. And 3, if I do need to run away, I just jump straight down into a circular area where I can kite all day. I found some spare stims lying around, just popping them so they don't go to waste. Since I'm using a Shout Veteran build, I pop the damage stim instead and keep the concentration stim because that lets me ult spam and basically makes me nigh invulnerable. Very valuable. One of the most important skills you need to develop for clutching is to tell with one glance whether you have the firepower to commit to a brawl or whether you'll have to fall back. There's no way I could kill all this without the plasma gun overheating, so I'm backpedaling as I shoot. Another valuable barrel. The red ones are usually more dangerous to you than the enemies, but these yellow ones are so effective against everything from trash mobs to even bosses. Always look for these to use to your advantage. Getting pressured pretty hard here, so I pop the sim for safety. There are flamers that can delete my toughness and a couple of crushers protecting them, so this was dangerous. Didn't need it in the end, but it's best to play things safe when you're alone because all it takes is one screw up to end everything. This gameplay was before the audio fixing patch, so I constantly had to swivel around to make sure there wasn't anything behind me. Speaking of which, I'm glad to say that ever since the audio fix, I don't need the Spidey Sense mod anymore. So now you probably understand the importance of positioning. Muties will screw all that up, so the moment you hear them, make sure that you're in a position to deal with them. Usually you may not want to have your back against a wall, but there's nothing threatening me here, and if the mutie rams a wall, he gets stunned to make my job of killing him easier. The horde here is thin enough to pose zero threat to me, so I take this chance to rush ahead and progress through the map. Getting more kills gives you no benefit, and if you stick around for every fight, you're just going to make no progress and get stuck all day. Okay, so this part of the map, you have to survey the area very carefully and make a big decision, because dropping down, you go to a point of no return. Fortunately, this is a circular area perfect for kiting, so it's pretty safe, but sometimes there are a million gunners pre-spawn down there, and you'll have to take out a good number of them before it's safe to drop. Hear the sound of a boss? Now it became an even bigger decision. The room we were in and path getting there are all dangerous because you can easily get cornered and enemies spawn all around you. So basically the safest place for a boss fight is either the huge area all the way at the beginning of the map or to drop down to the point of no return. I opted to drop down because 1, going back is a long way. I can get cut off and get stuck and get screwed. 2, there's not that many enemies here at the moment anyway. If you take nothing else away from this video, let this be the one lesson that you absolutely have to learn. Bosses are your lowest priority target in a clutch situation like this. If you ever try to stand there and let them kill you, you'll find out that it actually takes them a very long time to kill you. Compared to specialists, disablers, or even gunners that do way more damage, bosses are nothing. Think of bosses as another special condition that you have to deal with. They will try to pressure you and push you into a corner, and if you ever allow that, you're dead. They will protect the more dangerous enemies that are around you, but that's really all the threat that they pose. Your focus is still to take out everything else that is around you, and you will only deal damage to the boss if you don't have to make any sacrifices to do so, and when it's perfectly safe to do so. In fact, you will see in multiple instances here, I simply look away and ignore the boss, and I'll even tank their hits when I have full or close to full toughness, just to take out other key targets. So basically, as a general rule, your target priority is as follows. Specialists, disablers, or gunners. They usually come first, and I categorize them together because whichever threatens you the most depends on the situation. Then comes the bulwarks. They will try to protect other enemies or even the boss, and they can become annoying. If you can't take them out right away, try to focus on bigger threats first. However, if they are protecting something that really needs to die fast, like a flamer that's pressuring you, and there's no way to take out that flamer until the bulwark dies first, then the bulwark becomes your first priority. What comes next is everything else from elite enemies all the way to trash mobs. The boss comes dead last. This is always going to be your general rule unless you have very specific builds that can delete a boss insanely quickly. Only then would I even attempt to kill the boss before everything else. But those are very specialized builds, so just giving you the general rule here. Now this was an Auric Maelstrom mission with a special condition that constantly spawns specialists and disablers. Usually in other circumstances, you might have already killed everything else that's around you and you can safely 1v1 the boss. However, I don't have that luxury at the moment and will have to frequently run around the place and keep my head on swivel to look out for bigger threats. Specifically for the Plague Ogren, his charge knocks you really far away, and you can use that to your advantage because it's just putting more distance between you and it. He's making my kiting job even easier here. Do watch out if the area you're in has holes you can fall into though, because the Plague Ogren's attacks can knock you straight into those holes and end you instantly, and he does knock you really far back. Remember the target priority I mentioned earlier? This gunner in particular needed to die first. There are flamers around and usually I consider them more dangerous because they can kill you quickly, obscure your vision, and deny large areas of the map. But if that gunner opened fire at me at that kind of range, it would have been instant death. This is why recognizing target priority is extremely important, especially when you're the last one alive. Unlike a normal game, you only have a quarter of a full team's power to work with. Every decision that you make counts and can be the difference between life and death. At Tried to slide away from the sniper shot here, but didn't manage to do it fast enough. Thankfully, I had my veteran ults active at the time to protect me from all damage, and this is one of the reasons why the shout is such a strong ult. Here comes a bulwark. Not that big of a threat in full team, but they enable so much bullshit to happen when you're alone. Thankfully, the plasma gun bypasses their shields here, so their presence is quite trivial to this build. But if I was using any other gun, I'd have to lob my grenades here and take them out fast. Finally, get a relatively quiet moment to deal some significant damage to the boss here. In this auric maelstrom condition, these moments are rare and you should capitalize on them whenever you can, but don't get greedy. See what I mean about don't get greedy? I thought I could squeeze in a couple of extra hits to kill the boss and got heavily punished for it. This could have gone so much worse and I could have died right then and there. And that's it. I hope you found this commentary useful for improving your own gameplay. If you liked it, please do give the video a like because I don't usually have much time and I do look at the statistics to decide what video to make next. Tell me how I did for my first commentary ever in the comments, and let me know if you'd like to see more of this in the future. Thanks for watching. Until next time.